This is Luke Mears from NewbReview.com, and today I'm joined by my elder brother Elliot to show us the Japanese demo for Yakuza of the End, or Yakuza 5. Elliot, can you tell us a little about this game?
Yep, what they've basically done is following on from Yakuza 4, where they've introduced, how many is it, 3 new characters to take over from Kazuma Kiryu. They've decided that the best palate cleanser for the series would evidently be to fill it with zombies and have you blow up everything. And who am I to argue?
Yeah, just from what we've been playing here, what would you say are the main influences on this game?
Dead Rising seems like a fairly major one with a little bit of, I mean, you can see a minor Resident Evil 4 influence at the moment. But yeah, Dead Rising seems like a fairly big one. There's a huge amount of weaponry to pick up, as there were in classic Yakuza games, the more recent ones. And as with Dead Rising, it's got a sort of constant stream of rewards being thrown at you EXP wise, so you're constantly upgrading and increasing your skills for every 100 zombies killed or so on. I think also there's a fair Resident Evil influence, particularly in the music and some of the larger creatures that come along from the game videos that have been released so far. There's sort of giant liquor type things and Frankenstein's monsters and all sorts of pervy and terrible creations. And a fairly obvious one, as you'll see a little bit later on, is Left 4 Dead, where they have essentially lifted wholesale Left 4 Dead's 4 special zombie types, made a few minor alterations to them, given them some slightly sarcastic names, and dropped them back into the game.
Now, just from what I'm seeing here, it seems like the controls can be a little awkward in tight spaces. I mean, how do the controls in this differ from previous Yakuza games?
Yeah, not that much. It's still fairly kind of free-flowing. There's no lock-on button or anything like that, which was sort of the bane and the joy of Yakuza fighting before now. Basically, you hold down the R1 button to lock your perspective, and then you can swing it around on an axis using the right stick without aiming specifically at anything. And as you press the button, in this case Akiyama will shoot at anything within his field of vision, but completely randomly, so it might well just hit them in the feet. If you want to be more precise, then you have to hold down the R2 button, which allows you to line up headshots which will take them down in one go, or shoot their legs off so they are forced to crawl towards you.
Now, one of the things I liked about the older Yakuza games was the fact that you used brutal kung fu to kick the crap out of anyone that came across you. Now, I saw a moment ago you picked up a stick. Is there any of the hand-to-hand combat in this at all?
Yeah, it looks like, from what I can see, obviously this is only a demo version, and I've not kind of messed around in the skill trees particularly, but it looks like there's not much in the way of hand-to-hand heat actions that we saw in the old days, where you'd hit someone in the stomach and then beat their head into a horrible gory pulp with a bit of a stick, if you were able to fill up your heat gauge sufficiently. But as I say, this is only the demo version, and that may well come along a bit later.
Okay, I can see also that it's keeping track of every kill you make, and I guess that's combo kills, is it, without getting hit?
Yeah, the yellow number that you're coming up there is the combo kills, and then top is your persistent total throughout the game. And as you hit milestones, 50, 100, 150, so on, it will give you little leavenings of XP to celebrate the achievement. Similarly, for every certain number of headshots you're able to pull off, you also get a little XP reward.
Yeah, it seems a lot more arcadey than previous Yakuza games. Obviously, it's rewarding you with points.
Yeah.
And these the environments you're playing in seem more closed off.
Yes. That seems to be the case. What's happened here is, as opposed to the previous Yakuza games, where you sort of roamed around in the field and came across random battles where people would come up and insult your fantastic shoes. You have enclosed action sequences where you will basically run from start to finish while shooting as many zombies as you can, and at the end, a total score screen will come up and actually rank you according to a number of factors: how many zombies you killed, how many headshots you did, how quickly you did it, how much damage you received. And then you'll get an overall rank, rather like in the Devil May Cry games, only sort of less horrible.
I was going to say Devil May Cry, another influence there.
Yeah, definitely, but not as hard and less likely to make strong men weep.
Obviously, as this is the demo, it's probably taking place fairly early on because you're going through a lot of tutorials here.
It looks like it is the beginning of the game, from what I can tell. And the interesting thing to me in the context of the Yakuza series here is that the game is starting off with Akiyama again, as he was the main protagonist of the first 2, 3, 4 hours. May have been more, I wasn't counting because I was enjoying it so much. Yakuza 4, I'm not joking, of Yakuza 4. So it seems like he's being positioned to take over from Kazuma Kiryu as the sort of main character in the series.
There's only so many times a game can revolve around an orphanage being under threat.
You'd think so, but I mean, I don't know, maybe the Yakuza hate orphanages. Or maybe it's just those orphans, they are kind of annoying, especially that fat kid.
So in terms of story, what's actually going on here?
Yep, what we have started off with in the bit that we've excised from this video is that he's a moneylender, although the Yakuza series is one of kind of great magnanimity and kindness, so he's the kind of moneylender who will just give you some money and give it back if you can. But he, on his way to go and collect some payments that are owed to him, has found himself attacked by not only zombies but Yakuza zombies. And also a couple of policeman zombies that sort of teamed up to eat people. And retreating back to his office has then found the, I don't know what you'd say, the neighbourhood of Kamurocho under attack from the undead hordes, and is now going to... Well, he says he's going to look for a doctor for his secretary, but this is not a doctor. This man is a Yakuza who has been following him with suspicious intent. And that for the rest of the demo, there doesn't seem to be any mention of going to find the doctor. They sort of fanny about in the sewers for a little bit, and then they climb on the other side of this giant wall, which the military have very helpfully built to allow all the survivors to be murdered. So yeah, I don't know where that's going to go. Perhaps they've possibly cut out a little bit of content for the demo version. That does happen occasionally, as you remember with the Killzone demo, had chopped out about a third of the 5th chapter, hadn't it? But yeah, basically he's on a mission to go and find medicine for his secretary, who's running a high fever and may or may not be turning into a zombie, and is now teaming up with this Yakuza who's explaining that he knows where there are loads of guns kept because he's a big criminal, and perhaps they could go and find them together, which they then do in an underground dodgy video store.
So this is obviously quite a departure for the Yakuza series in general. So really, what I'm trying to ask here is, where does it fit in with Yakuza games? Does it fit in? Is this
No?
Is it just like one of those dream comics where Superman could fire out a midget from his palm?
That's
or
right.
something?
It's like the one where Superman woke up with a lion's head and had to sort of explain his voice once. But I mean, regardless of Superman's deviant lifestyle choices, so this is sort of a kind of sideways dream version of Yakuza. I mean, hints come in there that all the characters seem to have been reduced to their kind of essential state. Like, not to spoil the end of Yakuza 4, but maybe I will. Akiyama ends up in a slightly different position than he was at the beginning of that game, as does the secretary. None of which is reflected here in this game.
I see.
So they seem to have been kind of reduced to their sort of on-paper kind of caricature role. I don't know if that will hold true of people like Majima Goro as well, who's a fairly caricatured character anyway, running around sort of swearing in unintelligible dialect and hitting things with baseball bats. Also, I mean, the sort of clue that it's a kind of ludicrous, jokey take on the series comes from little things like the fact that Gordo Ryuji, the Kansai dragon, has got a giant chain gun for an arm. which he didn't in Yakuza 2. I was paying attention.
Spoilers.
Yeah. Yeah. For those of you who haven't played Yakuza 2, he doesn't affix a big chain gun to his arm.